Welcome back to my channel. My name is Andromedus, and today we're going to talk about the if-else statement. Now, if-else is basically pretty much what it sounds like. Let's say you have, like, you're going to go outside, and before you go outside, let's say the windows are all covered, you can't see what it's like outside. So you have your umbrella with you. If it's raining, you're going to use your umbrella. Else, you're not going to use your umbrella. Or let's say it's cold outside, or it might be cold outside. You have your coat with you. If you get cold, you put your coat on. Else, you don't have your coat on. So basically, in code, if else is what it sounds like. So let's see, how can we put this? Let's go with numbers, right? X, let's say we have the variable x, and we're saying that x equals the integer 18. I don't know why I'm stuck on 18, but anyway, let's say it equals 18. Well, in your if-else statement, let's say you want to do something with this 18, you can say if 18, or if x is less than 21, then print you can't buy beer. Else, you can buy beer. And what that is, it's a conditional statement. It just basically means is, in this particular instance, if x is less than 21, or if the person is less than 21, then they can't buy beer. Otherwise, then the next statement is you can buy beer. You can do things, you can compare things. If x equals 18, but is not older than 50, then you can have it say you are not a senior citizen. And then the else statement would basically include anything less than 18 and anything greater than 50. So you would have to put something completely different. This is where the if, else if, and else statement comes in. So your if statement would be if x is equal to 18 and x is less than 50, then you are not a senior citizen. Else if, or in Python elif, x is so what would we put for this one? Else if x is less than 18, then you would put you are still a minor, and then that would, I think, theoretically would leave anything after 50. So the else statement would be you are a senior citizen. And there's different comparison ways that you can go about doing that. And you don't always have to follow it up with an else statement. In coding, sometimes you can just have an if statement that says if it qualifies, then this is what happens. And then if you don't have the else if or else statement, then what it does is if that condition is not met, then it just continues on with whatever is going on. But if it is met, then it will do this first. Wow, this is a lot shorter than what I thought it was going to be. Okay, cool. So let's cover while loops. W-H-I-L-E. While loops are something that basically, it's kind of similar to the if-else statement, but it's basically a Boolean, or a true or false thing. If or while something is true, then it will do something. When it's not true, it will stop doing it. In this particular case, it's considered I think in coding it's called an indefinite loop, because if you're not careful, it can become indefinite, and you have to work out something to break out of that code. But while loop is basically, like, say you're driving, right, and you have your foot on the brake. Well, as long as you on the gas pedal, as long as you have your foot on the gas pedal, the car will move, providing nothing's in the way. Let's say everything is copacetic. When you have your foot on the gas pedal, the car will move. So that is basically something running as long as it's true. When you take your foot off the gas pedal, then the car, in this particular case, slows down. But in coding, it becomes, the while loop becomes false, and it breaks out of that while loop. On the other hand, a for loop is what's called is it called definite? It's not whatever the opposite indefinite is. The definite, the finite. No, finite. It's a finite loop. English. And what that means, it's basically used for iterating or going through something and doing something with whatever it is you're finding. For example, let's say that you have a shelf that's got a whole bunch of DVDs on it. Do people still use DVDs? I mean, I know I do, but anyway. And you're looking for a certain DVD. Well, what you're doing is you're running unconsciously in your mind, you're running a for loop. You're going through and you're looking for that DVD, and then once you find that DVD, in this particular instance, you stop and you grab the DVD. Or if you're categorizing, or not categorizing, but if you're making a list of DVDs, of all the DVDs that you have, then what you're doing is you're running a mental for loop that goes through each one of them. You're writing them down, each one of them. And once you come to the end of the list of all the DVDs that you got, then you're done. It's over. There's nothing more for it to do. And that for loop, you can change around, manipulate how far in you go. You can start from the back end, or you can start from the front end. You can start in a certain spot of the list, or whatever it is that you're iterating over. But once it's done, it's over with. Like I said, with the while loop, you have to be really careful, because if you don't have a clause that can make it become false, then that can run forever and will either crash your computer, or if you have a smart enough code editor, then it will automatically stop it for you and tell you that, hey, this is too much, or whatever. Let's see, we covered if, else, while loop, and for loop. So again, if else statement is basically, if this, do this. If not, then do this. Or if this, do this. If not that, then do this. And if not either one of those, then do that. Your while loop is, as long as this something is true, then we're going to go ahead and do this. Like if you have enough money in your bank and you want to buy something, then as long as you have that money, you buy something with it. Otherwise, it's going to kick back out of that program, or you're just going to say, in real life scenario, it's going to say insufficient funds, and that it's going to stop, and there's no buying process going to continue any further. And then your for loop is just going through a list, one item at a time, until you get to whatever requirement you've set for it. You don't need to break out of it. It kind of has the built-in break out of the system if you set it up that way. Yeah. So in the next video, well, hopefully y'all got that and understand that, and hopefully I made it clear. It's not that difficult. It looks difficult when you're reading it, and you can have them grouped up where you have several if-else statements. Like you can have if, and then you can have another if statement right in there. Or you can have a for loop with another for loop in there. They're called nested. You can have all of that grouped into a while loop. And in Java, because they use the curly brackets, I tend to call them getting lost in the brackets, because if you're not careful, you can get lost in it and forget which bracket goes with which block of code and whatnot. And then if you delete any of the code and whatever, and you accidentally delete a bracket, it can mess everything up. And oftentimes the coding editor won't tell you what it is that you're missing, and it takes you quite a while to realize it's just that one little curly bracket that's missing, or one extra one that you have. So we did if, else, while loop, for loop. I think maybe the next one will tackle the arrays and lists. They're handled slightly different in each programming language, but they're not that difficult to understand, and they're somewhat the same. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.